Okay, so my opinions on Powerslap and BKFC. I think it's very exciting. I think it's new. I think it's an amazing prospect under the umbrella of the UFC. I think there's a lot of potential for both Slap and BK, and so let's get into it. Firstly, I think there's a lot of narratives that can be pushed in both Slap and BK. For instance, I know in South Africa, we should definitely have a Slap Africa that should be already stable. How you have UFC Fight Night, that kind of a thing, and it should be the same BK. I think it will fly in Africa. I think a lot of people will be looking for those kind of opportunities, to make money, as opposed to working in construction on a minimum wage, or being a gardener, or going to jail and being a crook or a robber or a murderer and whatever else. So I think it's an exciting opportunity for Africans, and I think Slap and BK should definitely come to Africa. I also think the African dynamic. There's a whole bunch of different cultures here, different characters with different ethnicities and backgrounds. So I think it's an exciting kind of product to offer to the international market as well. I think there should definitely be some celebrity matchups. And I want to get into obviously, I think there should be a university tour, an international university tour, where you have Powerslap in the theaters or the halls of the schools, and then you have BK into the football or the basketball, the basketball places and stuff like that, the basketball courts and gyms. And I think that would be great. And I don't know why the UFC exactly can't do an open stadium event if the WWE can. I'm sure there is a very good reason behind it, and there are some technical aspects to it, most definitely. But I just think if the WWE can work around it for these many years, I think the UFC should be able to find a way to. Obviously, this would definitely grow both the audience, the reach, the engagement, the retention, as well as the revenue. So I think there should be also a hood beef kind of BK. The best way for the UFC to draw an audience away from their competition, as well as gain a further market share in alternative media, is through using ex-national league athletes to take part in either Powerslap or BKFC, and I think that's also a great way ex-athletes, people down on their money. I mean, we've all heard the stories of ex-national league athletes fucking up their bag. So I think it's a great incentive to get them in front of the camera again, making some dough. And I also want to say is it possible to also have Powerslap rivals translate into BK and of the UFC? Can there be a competition within BK to say get on Dana White's Contender Series? Because it is its own kind of style. And I think a lot of guys have seen that now. And BK and Powerslap should be aimed at BK and Powerslap should be aimed at lower income to blue collar earning individuals. Mostly YouTube Shorts and Instagram Reels, as well as TikToks, which are region specific. Say the long format for Rumble. It's an easy gateway to monetization. I think exclusive content should be put on OnlyFans for both. It's a great idea to get ex supermodels and ex, as well as current reality stars, to get involved with Slap and BK. For the ladies, it's a great way to bring in a new audience with the feminine line, and for the gents, added incentive to watch Slap and BK. I'm thinking Supermodels versus Housewives, Survivor versus Love Island, and Jersey Shore versus Geordie Shore, stuff like that. I don't think characters make sense. People won't be that invested in the athletes of these organizations. It's best to treat the coming promotions as stories with themed storylines. That way you don't have to worry too much about character regeneration. The good athletes that act their part well get brought on for another promotion. It's also pretty easy ways to merchandise the classic offshoots like clothes and now Supreme style products. It's also a lot easier to mint NFTs with the storyline. The value is obviously dependent on another and a number of factors, but story would definitely be one of them. I think you should even go full blown Springer with it, When I have rich versus poor fight cards, Republican versus Democrat, East Coast versus West Coast, family beefs, ex-new lovers versus the obvious replacement Green Party. These are just off the top of my head, but my point is, it doesn't need to be a name, and the UFC don't need to drop bags. If it's exciting enough, then people will buy your shit. DJT is the mainline only now, gym. So just think that the dopest, illest era when my gym and watching a lot of Jody Shaw, Drake was running the hit factory, and we all took as much as we could. I'm saying taking as much as we could, because at this time, whoever pushes the bar the most will own the parameters. The biggest speculators always own the regulators. Think Chicago Commodity Exchange. The UFC has an opportunity to kind of use sport to take the time people should would spend scrolling aimlessly on their phone, because like we discussed this in jail, when you're in your cell, max dump is like 3 to 5 minutes, but when you're at home, 15 minutes on average was agreed. People spend a shit ton of time on their phones, so you want people who haven't discovered your product yet to want to go down that rabbit hole. Besides that, I think anyone enjoys your content. We're not worried about, but there will be new and better as well as more efficient ways to monetize. Your media branches need to be responsible for obviously cultivating views, get the kids to clip, remix, and react to blow shit up. Andrew Tate's formula isn't exactly a secret. It never was, to be honest. We just need to be incentivized. The great thing for the UFC, which I see as a public entertainment and media management company, not a sports promotion or organization. So with BK and Slap, it can be bigger than UFC as we know it. Once you get people to see of it as reality TV, once people are catching up on your shit while they're on the can, you're in prime time, boss. That's what you want. You need to be putting so much content out there using your channels that people can't keep up. That's the key. You want to measure the binge rates, and that's what you want to cultivate. That's just my opinion on BK and Slap.